Color contrast in Gmail, accessibility in practice, Colorado Department of Labor and Employment. Hello, we're going to talk today about color contrast in emails. Generally speaking, we want to use a white background and dark text for our emails. But today's practice email is going to betray this most sacred rule. And we're going to fix it. So, as you can see in our example email, we have some bright pink text on a white background, some bright red text, which is a little, we'll see if that passes muster. And then we have some bright blue text. And we are going to use a tool that I love using, which is called the WebAim Contrast Checker. This is from webaim.org. And this is a great tool to use for checking the contrast for colors. Generally speaking, if you have a black on a white background, there's no need to check because we know that contrast is going to be fine. The general rule of thumb is that contrast must be a 4.5 to 1 ratio from the foreground to the background, so that color is dark enough for the visible eye to see. So we're going to actually minimize this color contrast checker and have it overlay onto our email so we can use the color picker tool. So I'm going to actually start with this bright pink text on the words "Hello Team" because I have a feeling that is not going to be dark enough for our purposes. So remember, our rule of thumb is 4.5 to 1, and I think that might just not cut it. So what I'm going to do is look at my contrast checker. Now the foreground is what we're going to be talking about for that bright pink text. That's our foreground text color. The background is white, and on the contrast checker, I'm going to keep the background the same as it's already set to white. But for the foreground, I can either put in the hex value if I already know it, or I can use this color picker, and I can put in the RGB value, or there's HSL value, hex value there as well. But even easier, which is why I like using this tool, I can use this little color picker button and go over to my email and select the color. Now I'm going to use the darkest part of this text just to give it the best possible, highest chance of succeeding. All right, I'm going to try my best. And I believe this is the darkest, let me see, the darkest spot on this pink here is right about there. And then it's going to update the hex value for me. And so I have my pink text foreground and my background is still white. And below I see my contrast ratio is 3.07 to 1. Well, unfortunately, that means that my contrast is not quite high enough. Remember, it needs to be 4.5 to 1. So on my web content accessibility guidelines, it shows me that I fail the AA standard. So I am not able to successfully pass that standard. It does show me that if this was large text, size 16 bold or 18 at least, it would pass. However, I know that's not the case in my email, so I'm out of luck there. And if I was using a graphical component like a line on a chart or an outline on a box, it would pass because for graphical objects or images that are symbols, those only have to be 3 to 1. And as I know from my contrast ratio, it just passes as a 3.07 to 1 ratio. So what do I do? Well, I could do a couple of things. I could play around with this lightness and darkness spectrum here until I see my contrast ratio get high enough. You'll see the green outline of the contrast ratio box be green and my pass under my WCAG AA pass, and hooray, I've got the right hex value. It's dark enough, right? And I can use that for my hex value of my pink text. Another option is I can go down to my color picker in my email, And I could try just picking a darker pink. Since I know that pink isn't going to work, I could try using a darker pink color. Let's see. Looks like the next darkest color might be this RGB 1162771. That looks quite a bit darker. Actually, let's see if I want to use this purple color. What does that purple color do? I'm curious. I want to see if that purple color is going to pass muster. So I'm going to use my color picker again, go over to my purple, and again select the darkest spot in that purple. And look at that. It's actually a 5.52 to 1, and it passes. Fantastic. So I can actually use this purple color instead of that pink, and I would be able to use this wonderful purple color. So contrast ratio doesn't mean we cannot use color. It just means we can't use bright colors on bright backgrounds and also dark colors on dark backgrounds. We just have to have sufficient contrast. So there we go. I can still use these colors. These are wonderful, great colors to use. I just wanted to make sure they were dark enough to be a 4.5 to 1 contrast ratio, or in other words, dark enough for users to actually distinguish them from the background. Another option is to forego color altogether, and I could just use black. And I could just make all of my text black and forego color, and that would mean I wouldn't even have to check my color contrast. And that would make it quick and easy, and I wouldn't even have to worry about whether or not my color is going to work. So that is another option. If I have black text on a white background, I know for sure it is going to work. Find more videos on our YouTube channel at CDLE_DLSS.